right, good afternoon, everybody. So we are well on our way in putting the epoxy floor in. So far, they've been at it for a couple of days, and it's getting closer. Should be wrapped up this Friday with a couple of days for it to dry, and we start to put the kitchen equipment back into the space on Monday. So that will be 4/1. We start to put the equipment back in. We had a date set for 4/5 for the kitchen work to be complete. Most of the work will be complete then, but I'm not sure exactly when we will turn the kitchen over to the dining staff, but it'll be very close. It's right around the corner. Looking forward to wrapping that project up and moving on to the next one. Yeah, so right now the epoxy floor is a multi-step process. So far they put in a few different coats of things that they need to do. It's a multi-layer process, so they've installed 3 or 4 different products at this point in time. They need to still continue with that process every single day for 5 days straight. They continue to add product and finish to it, and ultimately put a lacquer finish on it so it's nice and shiny and easy to clean and wash and all of that. But it's coming along very nicely. You'll see that in the video that shows you some information, or actually you get to see what it looks like in reference to the color in the kitchen. It looks nice and new, as it should, as we put all new ceilings, walls, and floors in that space. So pretty soon the dining team will be able to move their operation back into the kitchen. Looking forward to make that happen as soon as possible. So that's it in reference to the kitchen project. It's pretty much 100% complete. We have a couple more windows to put in and some miscellaneous things to do. Need to hook up things electrically and plumbing, which will all take place the week 4/1 to 4/5. So that's the 1st to the 5th of April. That's it. Have a good day. A little bit of an update on the Greentree. We're a couple of weeks into the project at this point in time. All the demolition work is complete. They started putting up the HVAC ductwork, the change in the ductwork that we had to put in. So that work is in process as we speak. Right now, there's not many contractors on site because we're kind of like in between of different things happening on site. So we got the HVAC work, which is all above the ceiling. The electrician came in and made safe and disconnected a bunch of electrical that's no longer needed. The plumber came in and did the same. So we're continually working towards our deadline, but at this point in time, we're sort of in flux while we're waiting for things to happen and contractors to show up on site. So next week we're looking at possibly having some steel delivered because we have a steel beam going in, so that will be coming in, and we're looking for the contractor to come in and put up some metal studs and some sheetrock as well. So we're going to continue with that process, which will obviously be beneficial and help us get the project going. And that's really the weekly update on the Greentree. It's moving along quite nicely. As I mentioned, we're a couple of weeks into it, and we've made some pretty good progress so far. Thanks, bye.
Kitchen repair and restoration project is nearing full completion. The Greentree Cafe is fully closed for several months while undergoing a complete restoration.
Yeah.
The Windsor is open for lunch, both a sit-down hot meal and sandwiches, well, both with carry-out. And the Windsor is also open for sit-down dinners with a separate carry-out service from the same menu that is in the craft room.
You know, I guess just as a kind of general, we would see the Harvest Grill continuing with the breakfast program for sure. I don't know if everybody who's watching today or isn't watching has had a chance to check that out, but it certainly outwardly seems very busy. Jeanette, who is our breakfast cook, mentioned that she is making more omelets than ever, so apparently those are more popular. So if you haven't stopped by and had some breakfast, it feels busy there with both staff and residents. As Dave mentioned, we do plan to continue with lunch service in the Windsor, so we're kind of calling that our Greentree Cafe at Windsor. And you know, we have hot food, we have some sandwich options there. We've been doing salad, fruit. We have both fountain soda, we have as well as cans of soda available, and some desserts. So it's been well attended, probably not as well attended as in the past. So if you haven't checked that out, it is open daily.
So that will continue after the kitchen is finally completed and reopened?
Yes. So in terms of dinner, I think probably will be everyone's big question about what's going to happen. So if you think about it, we have a pretty large kitchen, and we have no equipment in it right now. We have to, we had built the temporary wall in the Windsor where we stored all the kitchen equipment, and we have to move all that back in. Of course, things that sit around for a while end up getting dusty, so we are going to be doing a cleaning and a sanitizing of all those pieces of equipment. We'll be bringing them back in the kitchen. You can't just bring back equipment in the kitchen and go right back to operations, because you have to turn all that equipment on and make sure it works. So we're going to have to basically go through a test and a kind of an engineering process for the kitchen systematically.
Do you need any approvals to reopen that kitchen?
Yes, yeah. So anytime there's construction, we would have a final inspection done and approval off of that. But we're feeling like it's gone well, and we're not seeing any snags at this time. The carryout function would absolutely remain long term. So through the Greentree project, we think it's really important to provide that carryout option, for both to have something available at lunch through that the Greentree Cafe at Windsor, as I'm calling it, and also the carryout location. And
would that still involve the private dining room, or would
yes, yeah. So the private dining room would remain closed.
You're not talking about going immediately to the full signature dining menu operation the day that the kitchen is fully functional?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So we'll probably get a little more granular with that plan in the coming weeks, but absolutely, yes, it would be. It would probably be a slow move back. Again, kind of testing out areas, stations. We might focus on one area at a time before we just, we don't want everything in piecemeal. Can we get, maybe the dessert area up and running? Could we get the salad area up and running? So yeah, I know that everybody's kind of anxious to get back to normal, but we also want to make sure it goes well in the process. And if you think about it, we have our culinary staff has actually been doing buffet service now for several months. While the core team remains the same, we have a couple new players, so we do have to train them and get them ready for those stations. So we have to kind of move a little slower than even probably we want to, and get that back up and operational. But I think folks will be pleased as the options start to circle and get back on the menus.
You've got to take that wall down.
We do have to take the wall down. Yes. Yes.
Is that you're going to be able to do that without having to shut down Windsor again?
Right.
Which you had to do when you built it?
Sure. So we're still kind of playing with those final dates right now, because we're still waiting to find out are all the final pieces of the flooring done, and then so we have kind of like some tentative information on when the wall might come down, but it does look like we may have to shift service for a day or two to have that happen. So we're still working out the logistics on that one.